Hey there, it's Kevin. I just want to walk through my iOS shortcuts for opening my current day and current week pages in Notion. So let's jump into the shortcuts. I've got two sets of shortcuts that I kind of want to walk through here. There's the simple but somewhat slow version, and then there's a more complex version that has caching and the bells and whistles, essentially. So let's jump into this. We'll take a look at the slow one first. And it's fairly straightforward. Basically, I'm using iOS shortcuts to make a network call to my Notion Heroku server. And I'm going to hit the current links JSON endpoint. That's going to return a JSON object. And from there, I can actually just grab the current day value and open that up in Safari. The current day value itself is going to be a Notion app page link, and so it'll open up in the native Notion application, like we just saw. Now, if we take a look at the more complex one, this is a tailored version that's going to be shared for the blog itself. And so API token and other things have kind of been scrubbed, mainly the API token. And so we'll just kind of walk through this. It's a little bit lengthy. So at the beginning, we've just got a comment to kind of explain what's going on. The blog post will be filled out with the actual link. And so what we're doing here is that we're setting several variables. So we've got the actual endpoint that we want to hit. We've got our API token for the Notion Heroku server. We have a file name that we're going to use to hold our the cache response. We end up grabbing today's date and setting that to a variable as well. And at this point here, we're basically ready to get this shortcut going. And so what we're going to do is that we're basically going to try and grab that file from iCloud Drive. It may be there and may not be there. And so from that file, we're going to grab the date value out of it. If there is a matching day to today's date, that means the cache is currently valid. And so at this point, we can just grab the current day out of the file, and we'll use that later on. Now, if there was no match, so that means the cache is invalid or isn't there. And so we'll make a network call to the endpoint. We'll get the entire response. And so here's a little bit of error checking. We're just looking to see, are there any values in this response? If there's none, then we can just say that the server returned nothing and just exit. If there are a response, what we're going to do is that we're actually going to add a date value into that dictionary, so the JSON object, and that's going to contain today's date. And at this point, we can save that to our cache file, and then we'll just grab the current day from the file. And so at the end of these, the ifs, basically we're going to have the current day value, and so we can open that in Safari, which then again through the URL schemes will end up opening it in the native application for Notion on the iOS device. So that's basically the shortcut here. Again, it's got a lot of little steps in it, but it adds a little bit of a speed boost, in my opinion, just because it doesn't have to do the API request every single time. And it's also a little bit more resilient to network issues. So if you have no data or Wi-Fi, as long as you have that file cached on the device, your shortcut will continue to work. So I hope you enjoyed that walkthrough. Again, try out the shortcut, change it to fit your will. Thanks.